You know that we talk about some salacious topics in the movies. If someone is easily offended or has your ear going a long car ride home of explaining certain things, because you've been fair warned.
We come with a disclaimer on the stage.
He'll be missed, Jeff. Right there.
If you're under the age of 18, you gotta go, Jeff.
Well, good to see you again, Dee.
Yeah, good to see you guys too. You've got a lot going on.
Dude, there is a lot going on.
Yeah, I think I saw you on a podcast, I guess, that you just did, Mazzolan or something. I think it was in St. Louis.
Something like that, yeah.
And you referred to Layla from when we were in Calgary. And I thought you might like to know that she messaged me on Instagram, and she does know who you are now.
So, you want to tell them the backstory?
I will tell them the story.
Way to tell an inside joke.
I am telling it.
The audience is like, I'm sorry, we're here.
There wasn't one, you know what? She's always giving me a hard time. So give him a hard time for his Lakers hat, because obviously. So we were in Calgary. We were having a conversation, and a girl got up, and her question was, "Who are you?"
14-year-old. So
Yeah.
it's better than them coming up to the mic going, "I think I'm yours, killer."
Has that happened?
Not yet.
Fingers crossed. I don't know.
It'll eventually be a podcast, some true crime mystery podcast, I'm sure.
Well, you guys had a bit of a conversation with her, but apparently she went back and her parents had her watch.
Yeah, the parents
At
were
14.
That was her punishment.
Let's do watch Clerks.
How dare you embarrass us in front of all these people? You've got to now watch their movies.
I was so glad she asked the question. I'm like, yeah, who are you?
Now, not only do you got to watch those, but you're going to watch the one that comes out in this September. She would want to have to, right?
That's the correct education for a
There's a third movie?
Oops.
Yeah.
We kept Jeff unconscious on this weekend at Bernie's. Just tie my shoelaces to your foot. It's just an excuse for Trevor to put his hand up my shirt.
That's an excuse.
Interesting.
If you guys have any questions, just line up at the thing, and he's gonna go take care of some things. Who does have a 14-year-old daughter? He'll be back.
That's going to sum up this whole Q&A. Brian left to tinker with something. What is actually going on? Oh, okay.
He's putting the Brian touch
I see.
on things.
He's just editing all the non-Brian parts out of it.
Just his face the whole time. Do you have a question? Go ahead.
So first, I just want to say I think you guys are all awesome. I've seen you guys at other conventions before, and you guys have always been super nice to your fans, and I just think that's really great because you're always so very personable and willing to come out there and see everyone. Active. But my question, and it's perfect, I guess, because it's for you two, from Clerks 2, what do you think is the better trilogy? Star Wars or Lord of the Rings?
Softball. We don't even have to answer. I'm going to go with the Harry Potter prequels. The honest answer to your question is I don't care. I think they're both good. They're both good in different ways. The fact that Star Wars came out in the 70s and we're having this debate, no special effects, none of that. Star Wars. There's only one return.
Yes!
Okay.
Hi.
Hey guys. So in Clerks, a very important part of Clerks was Caitlin Marie, Lisa Spoonhour, and sadly she passed away a couple years ago. Does Clerks 3 honor her memory and, you know, remembering the character of Lisa, of the actress Lisa, and also the character of Caitlin?
I mean, Lisa was missed, obviously, on this. I don't think there's anything directly in the movie relating to her character, but it definitely felt like a piece of was missing. Definitely.
Well, that was a downer.
Just the silence.
We're all gonna die, you guys.
Here, I can cover that downer by giving you another downer.
We're all in this fucking charnel house together.
So, we're having some AV technical issues. We cannot show you the trailer here. It just can't, it won't transfer off my thumb drive onto their system. My apologies from me, the AV crew. We wish we could do it for you, but we can't.
We could try to reenact it.
But you all seen it. But you literally could go to Clerks, the number 3.movie. The trailer's there. You could all right now watch it on your phones. Just like when you're on, Disney Plus, you do that crowd watch, you know what that is?
Yeah, go ahead, we'll wait.
You guys should have paid the higher price. Now you gotta sit through commercials.
Anyway, we hope you go see the movie. So that's the best thing we can do for you right now. Sir, what do you got? Oh, man.
So damn polite.
Hey guys. So I've been watching Clerks ever since I was a child.
2 weeks ago.
I'm 20, thank you. I've seen Dogma, Mallrats, Clerks, Clerks 2, but Clerks 2 really piqued my interest as a 10-year-old child.
Who showed you this when you were 10?
You do see horns on her, right? You see the two devil horns.
I have so many questions.
That is an interesting question, Gobot, but let me finish.
Oh, shit. She not only watched it, son. She knows that was so worth not having the trailer to show.
The main scene that caught my interest was Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud.
Again, when you were 10.
I can quote that movie from heart to heart. So the question I have is, what was your guys' reaction when Kevin Smith sat you down like, this is happening? I mean, your faces in the show.
That isn't how that went, but if it would have been so much funnier if it did. Like, Kevin's like, take a seat. Alright, let's not, bitch.
Remember that scene that we said in the script, to be determined? It's being determined. Bring it in! Bring it in!
I was just thought it was funny. I mean, it definitely like makes you raise your eyebrows, but it was funny. I wasn't like really freaked out by it.
I remember when we had our first sit-down script read-through with Kevin, myself, Jeff, Jay, and Rosario Boston for the very first time coming and reading with us. We had a big, read-through of the script, and she was amazing as always. And at the end, she was off to shoot, I forget what movie at the time, but she had to leave kind of right after almost reading. And Kevin was just like, thank you so much for doing this. And I think it was Scott or Kevin asked her, like, but honestly, what made you say yes to doing our film? You're a big time A-list star. And she's like, honestly, I wanted to see how you're going to do a donkey show. And you're like, that's our girl. And there it is. So to be honest with you, without a donkey, we wouldn't have Rosario.
To me, like my favorite part of that scene isn't actually the scene itself. The guy, to be determined, is he Kelly or is he? He's the sexy stud.
He has a line where he goes, I'm the sexy stud.
I never saw the fucking movie. But Zach, who's a really big guy, he actually worked on our crew. He was the filming sort of the backstage stuff. And he's this big burly guy with this voice on this one donkey. He's this big guy, but he had to walk out to us like before we shot in his little silk robe and just sort of unveil himself to us so we could get like laughing out. It felt very dirty. I went back to my room and I showered like Meryl Streep in the silk robe.
He went back to his room and showered.
Well, funny enough, this just in only like a couple of weeks ago, Zach, who played the role of the sexy stud, for the first time ever is going to be doing a con up in Columbus, Ohio at GalaxyCon in December. So if y'all has been wanting to get your asses signed by asses that mean donkeys, or maybe your ass might be even into it. GalaxyCon in December, Columbus. That'll be his first ever. How much? For me to what? Fuck you like a donkey? I don't know, that's his prices. I assume they're similar to us.
I mean, with inflation, you know, who knows?
So, whatever it costs, sir, I'm just saying, it might be the first, it might be his last. You never know. Straight
Does
out
he have other credits, or is it just, is that it?
It's hard for him to get out of Mexico, I'm just kidding. He's done a lot of documentary work. He's actually a filmmaker that was working on behind the scenes stuff. So.
It's really interesting.
Yeah. So if you're one of these completionists and you want the sexy stud, get to Columbus in December.
More than you ever needed to know.
I didn't know that. I didn't even know I love that guy. I haven't seen him since we were Clerks 2.
There you go. It's like a little early Christmas present for you there, buddy.
Thanks.
My question is for Jeff Andersen and Brian Halloran. When you guys were
I wanted to just go fuck myself.
I had a feeling you were going to say that, and I didn't want to
Read between the lines, Trevor.
It's a question that pertains to the first Clerks film. Kevin Smith approaches both of you with you know, a very small kind of movie, and it's like, and you're both playing Clerks. How did you feel about getting into this movie? How did you want to approach it?
Jeff.
I approached it like an actor. No, I had no approach. I just fucking did it.
Yeah, he went to school with him, so he knew him from the neighborhood, going to the video store where Kevin was the video store clerk, as well as the convenience store clerk. So these guys have known each other for quite a while. As far as me, I auditioned at the theater that I had worked out of previously for the past couple of years in community theater. So I did, as you would say, approach it as an actor and auditioned and came back for a callback. Didn't know what I was auditioning for, to be honest with you. I thought it could have been porn. I was slightly right. And we, signed deferred payment contracts, which means like if we sell the film, you may get some money kind of thing.
Still signing those contracts.
So once we started shooting, we all had regular day jobs. Jeff worked at AT&T, I worked at a hardware manufacturing plant, and Kevin worked the actual store. So we'd all work until about 9:30, 10 o'clock, get down to the store by 10, 10:30 in makeup and wardrobe, which was just what the fuck we wore. And then start filming until like 5, 6 in the morning.
Jeff, you were working on a boat called the Sea Tiger, I thought. Right?
That was high school.
Okay. Jeff showed me his book when we were shooting Clerks 3. He would give me these little tours. And
I grew up around where the store was, so Trevor, when we went back to shoot Clerks 3, I was showing him around.
yeah, anyway, he puts out a boat one day. He's like, oh, we're on that boat. It's the Sea Tiger 2.
That's a great story, Trevor.
I can make that story better. After that night of him showing the boat, he renamed that boat the Love Boat.
I brought this on us all. I'm sorry. This is not
When you were talking about shooting at Clerks, in case anybody hasn't heard this part before, and you were talking about your hours and everything you were doing there, and you had to take the whole store down, correct, and put it all back every night after you shot. Is that correct?
I mean, we didn't do, the only night that kind of things had to be put back together was after the fight that the Dante and Randall characters have at the end of the movie. Otherwise, everything else was literally like just put the lottery machine back up on the counter, try to move the stuff that we had eaten, restock it to make it look like we didn't eat anything. Because the owner would come in and be like, take account of everything. Like Kevin did have a checklist. If you take anything from the store, just write down on this list so I can pay. And that's what we did. I mean, it literally wasn't nothing. It was like, cereal, like microwave burritos, or whatever. I remember the guy, the Truly's gun guy, Scott Schiaffo, he still literally has this one single serving of what's called pickle in a pouch, where it's like a pickle in the vinegar brine and it's vacuum packed. He still has it. And I'm like, it's not taxidermy, it's just fucking vinegar, bro. That
It
is
was like his thing he took from the set.
It's the one that's like the one thing that he still has is the fucking pickle in a pouch.
Is that a Speedo?
Yeah, right? Only green Speedos, though.
You get it from the stud. Pickle in a pouch. So now that all this is happening and you guys are back together, what's it like touring on the shows and getting to hang out?
Trevor?
Trevor?
It's great.
This is for Trevor.
I'm sorry,
How do you feel like getting back together and being on this kind of con tour thing?
it's been really fun. I like hanging out with Jeff and Brian. They're funny dudes. And it's just been surreal because I haven't been doing this business we call show since Clerks 2. And so it's just been weird. I tell this anecdote sometimes, so some of you have already heard this, forgive me. But I hadn't done any show business stuff since Clerks 2, and then we were doing the table read for Clerks 3, and one of the first things on here is Jay News just says, so I was Bigfoot hunting with Jack Osborne. And I was just, I'm not in Kansas anymore. So yeah, it's been a lot of moments like that. Like when we were at San Diego Comic-Con and we did our panel there, the people who went on stage before us was Marvel Studios.
They were our warm-up act.
Yeah. So it was like Wakanda forever. It was like, bye everyone, and then we show up, we're like, what are we doing here? Or at least I don't know. So yeah, in many ways it's been super fun and interesting and unique, but it's also just been, I've been beside myself with like, what is my life? Weird. Not in a bad way. That answer your question?
There you go. Jeff? How's it been since, because you're like now maybe a year and a half into this.
Yeah, I didn't want to do these cons for the longest time because I hate people, but I love gatherings. But I started doing them like right before the pandemic. I think I did 2 before the pandemic, and I've done a pile of them since. And I'm having a great time. I've held an alligator. Somebody gave me an alligator. I got choked out by a 10-year-old. That was Trevor. So I'm having a good day. It's been real fun. I've kind of stayed away from all this stuff. It's been fun coming out and meeting the fans and stuff. And I guess because I sort of isolated myself on this, I didn't realize like sort of how much these movies mean to people, and makes me feel really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I came out to meet you guys. You're awesome on this.
Yeah, I feel that too.
Yeah, good round of applause for that.
Are you proud of yourselves?
Also,
We're so cool.
Well, the thing about Jeff is he's like a cicada. Like he'll be here, and then 17 years he'll be gone, and then in 17 years again he'll be out again. So you got to keep him encouraged, otherwise he'll go right climbing back into that soil, just rotting away until 17 years when he comes out. He's like, hey.
As soon as Clerks 3 comes out, you'll never see me again.
So how about you?
Me? Look, I've been regularly doing a Comic-Con circuit since probably like 2009. I always enjoy doing the shows in general. I'm a big fan of other things that are out there, so a lot of times when I come to the city, I'm like, what do I look forward to is one, the food of the city, just because I'm a foodie, I like fucking, and Boston is one of the best food cities in America, hands down. Yeah, it is. I have a friend who lives in Cambridge, and I got into town like Wednesday, and I've hit like 5 restaurants just in a day and a half, just because I'm like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that.
You're like a hobbit.
Yeah.
Second breakfast.
Second breakfast is, I know. Fuck you there, Sean Astin and your fucking funky bunch. I think that's his band too, Sean Astin and the Funky Bunch. Those guys are great. They've been on the same tour with us.
He was on the stage right before this.
Yeah.
He was your warm-up.
I know. Well, he was patient zero from Chicago. He got the Sunday of Chicago's Fan Expo. He had tested positive for COVID. The Tuesday of the following that weekend, I tested positive for COVID, and I was like, I don't remember fucking kissing Sean Astin. What the fuck?
It was real hard.
I mean, I remember waking up next to him, but I don't remember kissing him.
He doesn't remember.
Yeah.
I have pretty good rules.
All I remember though,
I got plenty of photos.
I gotta just watch out for that monkey box, buddy. Just saying. Just saying. So I like meeting the other guests who are here. I love meeting the fans and finding out, you know, other fandoms that are going on. A lot of us really cool artisans and vendors that are here. Every city has a different type of vendor sometimes where they're locals who are like, oh, I sell this or I sell that. I'm like, what's this? I'm like, oh, it's a Boston thing. I'm like, what is it? It's cement shoes, bro. I throw you in the harbor and no one hears from you again. I'm on. I need a pair in that guy's size.
After Clerks 3, everybody expects you to disappear, so nobody will ever know.
It's true. We will disappear like a cicada.
Well, you were saying that you really enjoyed meeting the fans and how much these movies meant to people. Did you expect that? How they feel about the movies?
No, I expected everybody to hate the movies. That's why they didn't come out.
You also had a fear. You told us at one time you had a fear of being cornered.
I was really concerned about doing cons because I just thought everybody was going to ask me Star Wars questions. And I like Star Wars. I know Star Wars, but I don't know it like Randall knows Star Wars, so I thought I could only disappoint people.
Literally, the first question was a Star Wars question.
I know.
And you answered it. Like, I was the one who was, like, indifferent, and you were like, ugh, I've got a hot take on this.
Well, he was panicked at every question.
You've got stuff, yeah.
How you doing?
Hi. So along the lines of, you know, us fans recognize you guys like A-listers, do you ever get run into like on the street, like some super A-list celebrities, like, oh my God, you're Randall and Dante, like.
Yeah, that's why Marvel Studios and the Lord of the Rings open for us.
Are you saying, do we ever...
Like, if you're in New York City, like, you just have like Robert Downey Jr., like, oh my God, yeah.
Does Robert Downey Jr. walk the streets of New York City, runs into me?
Holy shit, Dante Randall!
Did you guys go for shawarma?
I know that boy is riding around town on a bike with a hat. That's not his normal behavior, you know. He's here to invest in some sort of tech bullshit over at MIT. That's it. He's not going to be here today or tomorrow or whatever. I mean, great.
And Dad, I did appreciate you calling me A-listers. Thanks.
I mean, there are times where other celebs at these kind of events, we're in the green room and someone's like, oh shit, hey, good to see a big fan, whatever. It's usually the other way around. It's like, can we go over and say hello to so-and-so? And it's that kind of thing. Like, at some point, I might be arrested by the Boston police around Ewan McGregor just because I'm like, I loved you in Shallow Grave. You know, that's kind
I
of
don't know about James McFadden has been stalking me for years.
Yeah, that is true.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. So I just feel like with Clerks, no matter at what time you discover it, like for the first time, whether you're an inspiring filmmaker or some or an edgy teen, whatever it is, you just connect with some part of it, whatever it is, it just moves you in some way. What was it for you guys when you first read the script or just got connected to it? What still stays with you? What moved you in the first place? What really stands about it?
Well, what sticks with me is what people shout at me all the time. Are you supposed to be here today? Like, I'm sure when I leave this mortal coil behind, I will have on my tombstone, here lies Brian Halloran, born in such and such, died such and such. He's not even supposed to be here. You know? So that's what will stick with me. What sticks with me afterwards is just when we went to Sundance and just the hoopla that went around, like this, you know, up and coming film, and it's it speaks of the generation, and oh my God, it touches the nerve and stuff like that. That's where I was just like, God. I've heard being played off the stage.
Shutting down the whole
Being
building.
straight up Boston blunt. Boston's just blunt. Yo, shit's closing in half an hour, son.
Attention visitors, the Q&A is ending in 30 seconds.
That's what sticks with me. What sticks with you besides herpes? I mean, it does stick.
I
Whatever.
have to divulge all my secrets. Yeah, I don't know. I really had nothing to sort of compare that to. I just know when I read the script, I'm like, there's a fucking lot of cursing in the script. Should we tone it down a little? But yeah, no, nothing really jumped. I went into it ignorance is bliss.
I like comedy's important to me, and I think Kevin's one of the funniest people I've ever met. Here's another two people that I've heard one of the funniest. And I guess the stuff that sticks in my mind is from movies and scripts so filled with like profanity. I really like how Kevin also finds time to be really silly. So that it's the silliest parts of his scripts that always stick out to me. I just think that's funny. So there's one, and I wish I could talk about it, but there's one line that I have in Clerks 3 that is easily the silliest thing that I've said in anything I've ever and it's
Kevin's not here.
I'm so grateful for it. When he said me, yeah, anyway, I wish I could talk about it, I can't. So that's what, I know that's kind of a vague answer, but that's the stuff that sticks out to me is the silly moments.
And there's a lot of that in the new Clerks 3. So he does a lot of heavy lifting is done by Jeff. The second heaviest, I would say, would be Trevor. There's a lot of Elias and Randall kind of stuff that is so fucking funny that we can't wait to show it. And the trailer, if we were at it to show you, doesn't touch on any of it, which is brilliant. Like the editors of the trailer put it together perfectly. So once you see the movie starting in September, the tour starts in Jersey September 4th. They've just expanded, in fact, Kevin made an announcement, they've just expanded all the Fathom events. It's not just 2 days now. It's September 13th all the way through the 18th. So if you want to take a look, if you said, I can't make it, I work on Tuesday and Thursday, you now can do Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so you get tickets.
You guys are also part of the tour?
Some of us who will be on the East Coast will do some of the East Coast dates. Some of the guys who are on, and the girls who are on the West Coast will do the West Coast dates. And then we thumb wrestle for the middle of America. Sir?
To me?
Yeah.
Shoot, I was coming to this thing. No, I got it. All right.
Don't choke.
Okay. Jeff, how many takes did it take to do the Porter order?
Oh, that is a funny one.
That was actually done in one take, I think. Yeah, the titles to the movies were actually written down, so I did not have to memorize Coming in Socks.
That's my favorite one.
Yeah, it was, I've told this story. I've told this story before. It was like when we originally had that, like I said, they were written down, and it was like, isn't this kind of a little much? Like, my mother's gonna have to see this movie at some point. I don't want to kill her. And he was like, yeah, all right. And he took the notepad back and he actually wrote like 4 new titles. And right before we shot, he handed it to me. So literally, as I'm reading, I was like, oh fuck.
That's a little behind the scenes moment right there.
Hi guys. I wanted to know if you think you're like your characters, especially Dante.
And I like my character.
If you guys think you're like your characters.
In real life, I'm more of a sarcastic bastard like Randall, to be honest with you. In the ways of Dante is I am a bit of a people pleaser. I'll do what I can to appease people, whatever they need to
Do you
get done.
complain a lot?
Huh?
Do you complain a lot?
Yes.
When I'm around these guys, it's so fucking little. It's a goddamn nightmare. If anybody came to the table, you notice I was there first, while these fucknuts were all sleeping and sitting in Starbucks and shit. I don't complain as much as I curse people out, which is so much fun. So that's about as close as I am with like that. But I'm really good with nail polish. Paint the ladies' nails. I mean, that idea for the original film came to me when he's like, you guys need to do something. And I was like, I don't know, Marilyn, do you have nail polish? She goes, actually, I do. I was like, I don't know, why not? She's right here, why don't we just paint her nails? And Kevin's like, love it, do it. And I was like, all right, here we go.
I'm nothing like my character. Because I chew gum and wear my hat backwards. I am my character, not an actor.
You seem like
I'm sort
Is that a compliment or not?
I'm like a method actor, like a Daniel Day-Lewis.
My left clerk.
And so when we were rehearsing, I was like, I had to take him aside. I was like, look, this character just doesn't feel real. I need to dig deep for my own experience. And he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to cry and jerk off watching a guy fuck a donkey.
Done.
But what did you do for the film?
That's my audition scene. It's like, this is why we have to do this at 11:30 at night.
Kevin walked in on me in the hotel room before we rehearsed the scene. Like, oh my god, I think I need a rewrite. Sorry, Jesus. She's back. Wow, Satan's daughter.
Just call him GoBot one more time, please.
Well, the question is from GoBot.
Ah.
So Elias's character is probably like the most relatable character. He was the nerd. He was like that ADHD mess. Do you ever feel when you're off film that you look at yourself like, I am this character?
I'm ADHD mess.
I am not an actor. This is me.
I guess all your characters kind of come from someplace that's you, right? Like, I mean, one of the things I tried to do with him is I didn't want to make fun of him. I didn't want to make like a Christian kid and like just, I don't know, mercilessly mock the religious part of his.
Transformers?
Yeah, or any of that, right? Like, I wanted him, I don't know, I wanted to be nice to him, I guess. But I'm not really answering your question. Okay, so the short answer to your question is no, I'm really nothing like the character at all. But I guess there's a little alliance in all of us.
Is that also like Lister Fiend?
Yeah, so it's been fun following you guys. I mean, I saw Clerks in the theater, now I'm able to share it with my kids. We're also huge fans of the Clerks animated series. Would you guys ever consider doing, you did the first animated series, now you could do something maybe in the Clerks 2 time period, and Trevor as Elias could be in it. Would you guys ever consider doing more an animated series?
Only if there's more donkey shows.
It's not our decision, to be honest with you. We've been trying to get that up and running for many years. That specific art style, that specific kind of production value is owned by Disney. So if there's anybody who can do it, it would be them. But obviously we would never be put on ABC, we would never be put on Disney Plus, but they also own Hulu. So if there would be any way of doing it, it would be Hulu. I know Kevin at one point went to the people at Hulu and be like, yo, would you be interested? And like, yeah, we know we own it, but we're not really interested right now. But that was a couple years ago. Who knows if the response of Clerks 3 is really big, especially hearing that the response that the 2 days of the fandom events is now expanded to an entire week because the sales of the advanced sales have been really good for us. It's the kind of thing where if the fans will want it, they will make it kind of thing. Otherwise, Kevin does have the rights to do any animated version of Clerks he wants, just not that specific type of animation episode because they own the rights of that. So you never know. There's a lot hinging on how well Clerks 3 does. There's that. There's also Mallrats 2, the movie is hinging like to get greenlit. This has to do well. And so, it's a lot of pressure. Not on us, but on you guys. To spend money.
We'll do our best.
Yes, you guys are really the producers when it comes down to it. Thank you. It was funny how you started that question, by the way. I was a really big fan, and I was waiting for you to go, but not anymore. I'm out of here. Come with me, my family. You have daughters. And we gave you that warning. We gave you that warning, and you still stuck around.
Well, he also started it as it's been fun following you. And I was like,
it's been fun. Take care. Bye-bye.
I thought you looked familiar.
So, I'm curious, how did Kevin's directing change from Clerks 1 to Clerks 3?
Jeff?
Yeah, that's the fun thing about working with Kevin. He hasn't really changed that much. He makes a really fun set, and it's a very easygoing set. We have a lot of fun. Honestly, since 1 and 3, there's not, there's more people around, but Kevin kind of remains the same.
I mean, the difference from the first one to the last one, significantly that I noticed was you say exactly how he writes it. There's rarely any improv at all. As we've gone now almost 28 years, 30 years of doing this, he's trusted us with these characters to add some things, tweak it, when we were doing the rehearsals for Clerks 3, we had like, what, a week or two or something like that they gave us. And Kevin, we went to this house that they rented for Kevin in Jersey that we would all go to, it's in his dining room. Kevin literally sat with his laptop on the dining room table. He'd be taking some herbals, and we'd be sitting next to him and stuff, and Jay and stuff, and we would read the script and maybe say, what if we said it this way, or what if we added this and tweaked it, and he'd be like, and start typing in. He's like, what did you just say? Yeah, let's change it. He gave us the trust of making it a more collaborative effort than we've ever done before.
Didn't it? But if you don't like Clerks 3, Kevin wrote the whole thing.
Every choice was Kevin's.
During that process, I think didn't I end up stealing like several jokes from you?
Yeah.
Trevor's a big fan of stealing my shit.
He's like the Carlos Mencia of Clerks.
I was just like, I think that'd be funnier if I said it. And for some reason, Kevin was like, I agree.
I've only got 4 lines in this movie.
We do have enough time for both of you guys to ask your questions, and then we'll have to.
Yeah, so I forgot to ask when I was over, saw you. So you were starting a podcast called the Brian O'Halloran.
Yeah.
O'Halloran.
The O'Halloran, yes.
Did you get started?
Yeah, season 1 is up and running. You can find that on the O'Halloran on YouTube or the O'Halloran on Facebook and Twitch as well. There you can see the videos on Twitch. I haven't started season 2 yet as I've been working on these memories.
I know you guys are all very busy, but I just wanted to because I forgot to.
That sounded sarcastic, sir. And I know sarcasm. I know you guys are all really busy.
I assure you, I don't know what sarcasm is. Anyway, and then the other thing is like, so any other podcasts that you guys have or you'd suggest, and then one other thing, when do we get to see Comic Book Men on like Netflix or something like that? I know that's not you, but.
I did 3 episodes of that show, and it is up to AMC to decide what they want to do. Most likely, you're going to probably see it on AMC Plus. I mean, since they own the rights to it. Kevin has attempted from time to time to reconstitute the show and have more seasons of it, so we'll see. I mean, Ming Chen is like salivating to get that up on any of the streaming networks. If anybody follows him on Instagram, he actually found some vendor at one of the cons who had bootlegged it onto like a Blu-ray disc. It was selling them for like $60. Yeah. I was like, yo, AMC, we could want to do something about this? Because your fans are making their own shit.
So I'm going to definitely subscribe or follow the O'Halloran.
Right on, brother.
And everybody else. And any other podcasts you guys have.
I appreciate that.
Did you have any podcast suggestions for him? Or something he should?
There's a really great one, especially if you're into music. A friend of mine named Rob Acampora has the A Game with Rob Acampora. That's a really good one. So he does a whole diverse section of entertainment. So he's in his 2nd season now as well. He's a good friend of mine. Jeff knows him as well. He was a regular music DJ for decades, especially during the 90s. And he was a protege of Matt Whitfield, if anybody was a fan of Matt Whitfield. So I recommend that. The A Game with Rob Acampora. What's up?
Hi, my name is Ryan.
Hi, Ryan.
I've never seen Clerks.
You son of a bitch.
Do you have a sister named Layla?
You Canadian.
I knew you looked familiar.
So you never seen Clerks?
So, as someone who has never seen it but does want to get into it, what is Clerks?
All right. First of all, welcome to planet Earth. Secondly, which row are you sleeping in this building? No. It's a really fun story about 2 guys. One is a convenience store clerk, and the other is a video store clerk. Now imagine if Redbox was a big store, and someone had to hand you that disc out of the bottom of the slot.
Well, that's where Blockbuster, yes.
Right. So that's what the video store was. And so there's 2 clerks, and it's a day in the life of these 2 clerks. Very funny, very foul. Not as foul as what we see these days on YouTube and on the news, to be honest with you. So it's a good starting point of Kevin Smith movies. So if you ever want to know all of Kevin Smith movies, which I find very entertaining and hilarious, start with the way he made them. Start with Clerks, then go to Mallrats, Chasing Amy, Dogma, then you want to go to Jay and Silent Strike Back, then Clerks 2, and so on and so forth. And then you'll be like, wow, how did this fucking guy make so many shitty movies and still get people to give him money?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like right now, you're living in a state of blissful ignorance. Like, be careful about what you wish for here. You still have a chance to get out alive.
See, like, I've never seen any of the Harry Potter movies.
But you know what? I haven't either.
There you go. See, me and you.
I've seen them, they suck.
Do you even watch movies? I'm so confused.
No, actually, I studied films and history in college. It's one of my concentration in
Films and
history.
history.
I don't know. Well, there you go. You have a whole 4 days of movie watching, if you like.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks, man. Take it easy.
So thank you guys so much for coming out. Big round of